Well, thank you, Rocky. It's great to be here. And I should maybe preface this with, I love the subject of this panel itself because it's talking about new media and new sort of ways in which we can make differences. And so I used to be part of the conventional media. I have been a network correspondent and anchor for 30 years. But like you said, in the beginning of 2020, I decided to break out on my own to start this show that really focused on the AAPI community because, we were sort of underserved and sort of sidelined a lot oftentimes. And so it was an innocent project just to sort of highlight the community. And then, as you said, COVID started. And then, of course, the xenophobia began exploding and the blame against all Asians that COVID was our fault. And so that made me pivot the show to really start focusing on these very important volatile issues that a lot of folks did not want to talk about at the time. They were too afraid. And in the past, of course, a stereotype existed that the Asian community always remained silent. We were told to just keep quiet. We weren't supposed to make any noise. We weren't supposed to make any waves. But I said, to hell with that. I'm going to make as many waves as I can to really focus on this really serious crisis that grew into an enormous crisis, as we saw in Atlanta with shootings, the mass shootings. I'm afraid to say that we all saw that coming because it was starting to culminate into that kind of violence. So, it was a calling. That might sound really hokey, but I really felt a sense of purpose to take the show in this direction and become this accidental activist, like I like to call myself, where I was sort of thrust into this position to become really vocal. And it was necessary. It was just absolute. I had no choice and I was happy to do it, but it's come with some costs. As we all know, in communities of color, particularly, when we stick up and we're the little nail that sticks up, people want to pound us down. But the difference now is that we're starting to see a larger movement of a lot of communities wanting to be heard and wanting to make systemic change for good, not temporarily, but for good. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.